Okay, here I'm making the, just sitting at the front table here, and what I'm doing is making the inside parts of the rebarb, where I'll tie it to the rebarb actually. And what I'm doing here is just measuring it out, making 3.5-inch squares, and this will go inside the tubes, which I'll show you in a minute. And basically just making all the little squares. I want to tie them together, and I'll show you in a minute. Okay, here's what I've done. I've cut, well actually I'm going to put 3 on each square of the rebarb corners. So I cut 3 for, I have 4 to make, so I cut actually 9 of these metals right here, about 6 inches, and that's just to tie the openings together. And then what I do is I bend it like this, and once I bend it like that, then I'm going to take the metal piece, and what I want to do is take these 2 pieces and tie them together, okay, so that I form a complete square where the opening is. And then eventually I'll tie these corners here. So once I've done that, then if we come over here, I've taken the my metal tie actually this was I got this many years ago when I was building some property down in Mexico. So I got this, and as you can see here, I just take it and I loop it around and then just twist tie it, okay? And then the end result will be this right here. It's all tied together, nice and snug. It won't pull apart or anything. And then I'll make all the squares for that. And then I'll show you what I'll do next, okay? All right. Here, what I've got a little bit longer than I really need. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off only 2 feet, because I only want to go 2 feet down, because I will be putting some other steel bars down in the ground a little bit deeper to tie everything together to make sure it doesn't move. But for the purpose of making the inserts for the tubes that we will eventually put cement into, I will be cutting 2-foot sections, okay? And what I'm going to use is this grinder right here. Now, this is a real handy tool to cut through this. I remember when I was doing this back in 1989, I was actually hand cutting these, and I had literally hundreds that I was hand cutting, either with a big huge pair of bolt cutters, and I was also using a hacksaw. So this tool is really handy these days to use one of these grinders, and I strongly recommend it. Or you can you know, get a blade, a metal blade for a big power saw, and that will work as well. But this actually runs at a super fast, high speed, and it works just fine. Okay, and then you can cut through it pretty quick. So I'm going to cut these into 2-foot lengths, and I'm going to need a total of 12 of them. And I know I mentioned the ties and so forth was 9. Actually, it was 12. I miscounted when I was speaking. All right, so I'm going to start cutting these. Okay, what I've done here is I've cut the rebarb into 2-foot lengths. Got a total of 12 of them, so basically I've cut about a foot off of them because they were 36 inches. The grinder, and one thing I do want to point out is making sure that you have something soft for your knees, especially if you're nailing on cement, and then make sure that you use gloves, glasses. Sunglasses work fine for something like this, because it's not like you're welding where you have a bright spot. Okay, what you want to do now is you take this roll here. This is just tie wire. You're going to get dirty because it's got an oil base to it to keep it from rusting. Only a couple of bucks. Actually, I think it was like $3.50 at Home Depot. And then what I do is for the tie wire, I measure 1.5 of these bars here. So halfway through, and then a full length. And then what you'll do is afterwards, you'll end up bending them in half, and it'll kind of look like this. And what I try and do is get them all at the same time. And what I did was, since I'm making 4 of the sets to go into the thing, and there's well, into the tubes, what'll happen is that I'll need to tie one of these corners here to each one of the bars, so that'll be a total of 48 that I'll need. And I already started tying this here, so this is kind of what it looks like. And what you want to do is you come in from this side with the loop. You come around here and then back and around, okay? And then up underneath and then around this way till you get to the loop, and then you take your bar, okay, and you twist it around. Be careful not to twist it too tight. You want to get it very, very snug, and you get the feel for it after you do a couple, because otherwise if you go too tight, you'll snap it, and then you might as well just cut it off and start over again. Normally they look pretty decent here. Let's see here. I don't know if this is going to come in clear, but anyway, in the loops. And then what I do is I just bend this over or get it inside so that it won't cut the paper tube when I put it into the paper tube. So I'm going to go ahead and start assembling them, and I'll have one here, and then I'll put another one right over here, okay? Probably about 1.5 inches from the end, and that will be sufficient once you put 4 of them on, because I actually like this little bevel here, because that'll actually, when it sits in the cement, it'll actually hold pretty well. So I'm going to go ahead and start beginning to do that. Okay, so I'm all done here, and as you can see, we've got one here, all 4 tied together. And like I said, you want to make sure that you get them nice and snug. This isn't going to move. It's got it like a figure 8 tied together nice and snug. And then I've got all 4 of them completely done. There's the other 3. So I've completed this part. Okay, so what's going to happen here is this is the tube. It's 8-inch in diameter, and this will set inside here, and then that will give it the support, and then I'll put a tie on top so that I can bolt the frame of the floor to it, and that will give it a lot of support. If you don't put the rebarb in there, what will happen is it'll won't hold as much. Now I'm using these tubes here. Like I said, they're 8-inch tubes made of cardboard. I cut them in half to 2 feet. I'll put them 1 foot in the ground and then 1 foot above the ground. That'll give me some clearance for when I do the frame, and it also will hold pretty tight, because like I said, I'm going to go a little bit deeper, about another 1 foot in the ground with pipes, and believe me, it will hold very, very strong in any type of wind. So it'll take about another 1.5 months, and I'll head out to Arizona, and I'll be putting these into the ground and getting the base ready. And the base is probably one of the most important parts, not the important part, but one of the most important parts. Okay, so that completes that. Okay, this is what the finished product looks like over here. The poles and everything, as you can see. Plenty of water on top to absorb, since we're at about 100 degrees outside. All full with the rebarb inside, and boards on the side is strictly just to hold it up. Then what I'll do later on is I'll come across, I'll take these boards out of here on both sides, and then the hole around it, I'll fill up with cement. That'll give it the sideways support once I take the wrapping off of the pole. So then it'll be really super strong. Alright, so as you can see, got all the ones over here and around. Okay. Okay, as you can see, I came back and I filled in all around the poles, or the pillars I should say, for the foundation. I put a lot of rocks in it, very high strength cement on all the corners to make sure. And as you can see, on all the corners here, well, the middles and the corners, but basically all around, I've gotten it pretty secure. Okay. Then what I did was, and this is only probably between 1.5 inches to 2 inches. It's just basically a foundation. And the reason I put this here is because after I stucco around the sides up to the foundation, this flooring will at least keep any animals out, because over here in the desert we have a lot of animals, and we want to make sure, like rabbits and things like that, make sure they don't get up underneath, and cement's going to be very hard for them to dig around. So that's basically the foundation. And then what I'll do is I'll put some 2x6s or 2x8s, 2x6s or 2x8s. I'll put them around on the foundation. It'll probably be like, yeah, I think it'll be 2x6s, 14 foot all the way around, and then in the center, and then I'll cross it in between so that it doesn't twist or anything, especially out here in this hot desert. And that'll be the flooring, and that'll complete the foundation. So that concludes the cement work piece of it. But like I said, I still have stucco work to do, but that'll come later. Bye now.